up this early, but HSS is having another demo day for Firewire, and I thought I'd get there to try to grab either the Great White or the S-Boss. Here we go, HSS. S-Boss and the Great White Twin. This one is really hard to read. It's 5'7", 19 and 1/16 maybe? I can't tell. 27.5 liters. That's what it says. So one of the inherent issues of demo days is that sometimes Mother Nature doesn't always cooperate. Day one was rather small, soft, but super clean. And as the tide dropped, it actually got a lot better. So while some of this footage plays out, let's talk about the board, and later we'll get into how it's surfed. The Great White Twin, or GWT as I'll refer to it, is a collaboration between Firewire's own Kelly Slater and a shaper out of Indonesia named Mike Wu. And as its name implies, it gets its inspiration from the great white shark. Now, I'm not 100% sure about that name or that inspiration, since I've seen skinny great whites and also fat great whites, so I'm not exactly sure which outline this fits. Now, nevertheless, the one thing about this great white is that it has teeth, and by that I mean it has a great deal of performance built into the board. Now, unlike other twins out there, the rails of the GWT is rather refined, and the board is super knifey and feels very performance oriented. Because of these design features, for the average surfer, beginner to intermediate, this won't be the best groveler. Now, for those that are comfortable setting the rail, we're talking high-end, intermediate to advanced and up, what you'll notice is that as the waves get better, this board really starts to show its teeth. Pun intended. So before we go any further, let's talk about the rocker as well as the bottom contours. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about the rocker, and the Great White Twin has what appears to me a medium entry rocker and a pretty high exit rocker. Now, if you compare the tail rocker side by side with the mashup, the GWT has a much higher tail rocker. Now, another interesting comparison will be the flat section of the board that sits on the table. Now, it's not entirely flat, but as you can see, it doesn't let any light through, and that section on the GWT is half the size of what it is on the mashup. And mind you, the mashup here is 3 inches shorter than the GWT. And what this basically means is that the mashup is going to be a much better groveler, and the GWT, as the waves get better or bigger, is going to be way better at performance. Now, as far as the concaves go, from what I can tell, it's pretty much a single, and it has a hint of a double, and you can see that in the shadows. And it's pretty much this way all the way through. At the very end where the swallowtail is, it is flat. So that pretty much covers the board. So let's get into how it paddled, how it caught waves, and how it surfed in the conditions that I usually go out on. Because the board is 27.5 liters, it's actually in my grovel range. So relative to my other boards in the same liters, I couldn't feel a difference in terms of paddling. It paddled really well, and it caught waves relatively easily. In terms of surfing, however, because of that extra tail rocker, what I found was that when the waves were softer, stepping on that tail makes the nose come up more. So it almost felt like, and almost looks like when I look at the softer waves, that my nose is always kind of doing a little wheelie. From a feeling and sensation standpoint, it's different from what I've been surfing. Now, don't get me wrong, the board performs when the waves get better. So you saw the footage from earlier. I'm going to show it to you here again. But anytime it was probably, I would say, waist to maybe chest high or greater, or the wave had a lot of curve to it, that thing just fit perfectly, and it did the turns pretty much on its own. It almost felt like my Modern 2, except with way more performance. Now, because of that extra tail rocker and curve, what happens when you put it on rail is it likes to draw out the turn. And because of the swallowtail and kind of the knifey rails, when you have a nice open face, this thing feels like it's got turbo. So now getting to, again, the $1 million question, is this board for you? Now, pretty much with all boards, I mean, if you buy big enough, anyone can actually surf it, right? If they had a 7-foot version of this, you could learn on this board, right? But ultimately, the goal of this board is a twin fin that has the performance of a thruster, the same type of hold, etc. So what I would recommend is that if you're a beginner, obviously this is not the best board for you. There's better options. If you're kind of a low-end intermediate, you're probably surfing smaller waves, so recommend that there are better options. Mashup. You saw the tail on the mashup. That thing, ultimately what it boils down to, even for an advanced surfer, I have to put so much less effort groveling on the mashup. Now the GWT still can grovel, but you have to put a lot more effort into it. You got to look for the steep sections on a small wave, the steepest parts, and you got to try to pull as much energy out of that wave to get and maintain your speed. If you don't have that skill, you just want to avoid it and just get something that's more user-friendly. Again, mashup. So there are different options. If you're an advanced surfer, you probably want to gravitate towards this because of the curve, the tail rocker, the performance rails, and ultimately it probably fits your volume range. So this is an excellent performance board, especially for a low end to and up, low end advanced and up. Sorry. At the end of the day, anything that gets said in a review, mine or others, you got to take it with a grain of salt. You have to realize, I learned to surf on, I believe, a 5.8. The longest board I ever went to was a 6.0. Never surfed on a foamy, never surfed on a mid-length. It just took longer, but it doesn't mean it's impossible, okay? And with that, I'm going to leave you with this last part, comparing what makes this a true twin versus, something like the mashup, which is actually a thruster, okay? Both boards can be ridden as a 2+1, but the difference is one is designed to be a twin and the other is designed to be a thruster quad. All right, so here we have the mashup and the Great White Twin. Now the reason I put these two boards and comparing them is to show you the difference between a board designed to be a twin plus a trailer versus a 2+1, which is the trailer, okay? This board is designed to be a thruster, a quad, or a 2+1. This is designed to be a twin or a twin plus stabilizer. All right, and the biggest difference you'll notice is that the front fins are way further up on a thruster than it is for a true twin. That's 1.5 inches. Easily 1.5 inches further back. So that's going to maintain the hold and drive on a wave, because typically, if you're an advanced surfer, you're going to surf with that back foot further back. This board, I rode it as a pure twin only, no stabilizer, and it holds. And I was able to do turns on it. And typically, that's never the case. I can never ride this board as only a twin. It would slip everywhere. I would also lose a tremendous amount of drive. So that is the difference. I hope I'm illustrating this properly. Both boards are flush against this table, and the mashup fins, the thrusters, are put up. Now, having said that, I'm going to do a fin comparison on the Great White Twin. I'm going to use the Orcas, the Krakens, the Taylor Knox, 2+1s, etc. Now, I tried them all already, so goes to show you, you have to factor in all these design elements in order to ride it properly with the right fins, right design. All right? Hope that helps. Or are you always trying to get in the act? Zozo, look up. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to end it here. Please like, subscribe until the next video. The next surfboard is going to be the Twinsman, but I am going to put out a couple videos in between till I get the footage. One of them being a motorized fin, which actually was, rather surprising on how it performed. All right. Bye, guys.